A warm welcome and a very good morning from the Fast Food and Cafe Convention, Bengaluru. We are thrilled that you are all able to be here today for what's cooking on our menu. Before we get hungry for more, without any further ado, I would like to invite Ms. Minnie Jacob, co-founder of Oddbox, welcoming you all to the 6th edition of FFCC.
Good morning to each one of you here. It's great to be back, and I think what we can say is that we've all gone through a very difficult time. We are meeting after a long time, and the fact remains that we have overcome the worst. We are here today, and I think that is commendable, right? What has happened during this 2 years that have gone by, I think, is not just the difficult time that we've been through, but also the fact that it has given us a little pause. It has given us a time to think and maybe get creative and innovative. So with that, I think that is reason enough to be grateful and, appreciate the fact that we are all here today, gathered here. Now, from Oddbox side, the company behind the Fast Food and Cafe Convention, we are very thrilled to be doing what we are good at, that is bringing people together. To be able to do that right away, again, is something that we are very happy about. Of course, during the last 2 years, like I said, we did get a little innovative too ourselves. We created some new formats, and we also launched this event in the Middle East, in Dubai, and that was because UAE was far better placed in terms of the pandemic than India was, and we took that opportunity and launched the event in Dubai, which was very successful. Now, here we are in India with a 6th edition, and of course, we are very happy to have all of you here. We have a lot of discussions planned out for the day, and I hope it turns out to be fruitful and useful for you all. There's a lot of people who have given us that encouragement and support by registering for the event, by coming for the event, and we're looking forward to having a lot more through the day. I hope you enjoy the event as much as we did putting it together. And we are always open for suggestions to ensure that the event gets better and more meaningful and relevant for the industry. And to that end, I would request you to please reach out to us, phone, email, either ways. George and I are always open for ideas. So on behalf of George and me and the entire FFCC team, I give you a warm welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jacob. To kick off, I'd like to invite Mr. Biju Kurian, Chairman of Retailers Association of India, to deliver the welcome address.
Thank you. Thank you, Anna, for this welcome. Thank you, Minnie, for those introductory words. And first of all, welcome once again to everybody in the hall and those who are outside the hall in the exhibition area. There is no better time to be in Bangalore than now, because you've all experienced the lovely weather and you've seen what it is to be in what was earlier called as the Garden City of India. There is also no better time for the food services industry than what we are currently experiencing. A couple of weeks back, I was at the Retail Leadership Summit, which is the annual convention of the retailers of India, Retailers Association of India, and we had more than 1,000 people who were attending the conference. And the mood of positivism, the kind of anticipation that the retailers were looking forward to on the heels of an excellent quarter that they all had, which was the January to March quarter, was absolutely amazing to see. And I think that is a mood which is also currently there in the food services industry. So what we are seeing today is, as Minnie was mentioning earlier, We are seeing an industry which is regrouping, if I were to use the words, after 2 years. But when we are regrouping now, we are regrouping with new knowledge. We are regrouping with new experiences. We're also regrouping with a new ambition. Along the way, some of our colleagues, some of our industry folk have fallen on the wayside, but that is unfortunate. We are seeing a resurgent customer. We're seeing a customer who has adapted to this hybrid work, study, life without too many challenges. We are seeing industry adapt to this hybrid work with much more difficulty. And I think what we have seen is we have seen the customer lead us into change. And that is a change that all of us must be prepared for. We have experienced a bit of that change in the last 2 years, and we will certainly experience a lot more in the coming years. When the lockdown was announced in March 2020, we all wondered what we would do. In one fell swoop, our stores were closed, our restaurants were closed, our businesses were closed. We were all shuttered in our homes. And yet, on the other hand, we managed to figure out how to live a new life. We figured out how to be able to manage without domestic help. We figured out how to be able to manage with limited supply chains in terms of running our kitchens. We figured out how to keep ourselves entertained through streaming video as opposed to going to a theater. Those who work figured out that they could actually work from home rather than work from an office. So we actually created several new paradigms which gave us an understanding that life can be also very different than what we know, and we can actually profit from it. Those of us in the restaurant business would remember that we were closed and we wondered what to do. And of course, as all smart businessmen, we said, let's cut costs because there are no revenues. So we actually managed to reduce our costs somewhat by letting go of some of the non-essential stuff. But as we went along, we wondered, when will customers be able to come back? And when customers finally started coming back, it wasn't that they were coming in for dining. Many of them came in and said that, I want to buy your food and take it back home because I am more comfortable eating in my home than eating in a restaurant. Some of them who had been cooking at home for maybe weeks and months on end said that, can we come in and get some food kits and take it back, meal kits, and take it back to our homes and cook it so that we have the pleasure of cooking without actually endangering our own lives. And in little ways, we found out customers slowly venturing out. And the one area that they all ventured out fastest was in terms of first store pickups and then later deliveries. And today what we are seeing is that that quotient in our business has increased tremendously. And we are now getting used to paying for expensive real estate, having maybe not the full complement of staff, but having a large part of our business actually getting delivered to customers' homes. Question to ask ourselves is this a permanent part of the business model in the future? Question to ask ourselves is that, will customers exhibit the same behavior in the future that we have seen in the last 2 years? Question to ask ourselves would be, what are those new values that the customer will treasure, that we will need to actually adopt as a company? So there are several questions that we need to certainly ask ourselves. And I'm sure that during the course of this day, you will certainly find some of these discussions and the opportunity to be able to address some of these questions to those who are participating in the discussions. In a networking meet like this, you get to meet with colleagues from the industry. And that will give you the opportunity to also, share notes and understand whether life has been the same for them as it has been for you. So let me, on this note, wish you a day full of anticipation, a day where hopefully you will leave more enriched by having spent the next 8 to 10 hours here than you started off in the morning. So wish you all the very best for the rest of the day. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kurian, for that wonderful introduction. And don't go too far, because we're calling you back to moderate our first panel for the day, customer experience, a much greater impetus than needed now more than ever. Invite you to introduce the panelists.